Hey everyone, what I've got here is the answer to the question, what if the Stream Deck Plus and the Stream Deck XL had a baby? This is it. This is the Elgato Stream Deck Plus XL. It was only announced yesterday, but Elgato were very kind enough to send this out to me 1 week ago, so I've had a lot of time with it. And this is without doubt the largest Stream Deck that Elgato have ever released. We've got 36 classic Stream Deck keys. We've got a long dynamic touch strip here underneath, and then we've got 6 interchangeable dials. Let's dive into the review and find out more about what this Stream Deck is all about. The Stream Deck Plus XL is being released at a price of $349.99 in the USA, €349.99 in Europe, and £329.99 here in the UK. From a functionality perspective, the Stream Deck Plus XL offers the same functionality as its smaller sibling, the Stream Deck Plus. But the XL version has more Stream Deck keys, a larger touch strip, and more interchangeable dials, hence the name the Plus XL. The Plus XL is compatible with existing Stream Deck accessories such as the USB hub and network dock, but not the original XLR dock or the Mark II version of the XLR dock that has just been announced. I don't think the lack of support for the XLR dock should be an issue, as Elgato are releasing 2 new audio interfaces, the Wave XLR Mark II and the Wave XLR Pro, which is a higher quality audio interface which is being marketed to professionals who want the best Elgato audio setup. 9 columns of Stream Deck keys can be found at the top of the Plus XL. The touch strip and row of dials underneath look great, but do obviously increase the height of the device, which is why it looks so big compared to the older Stream Deck XL. Overall, it is a fantastic looking Stream Deck, and the build quality, as always, is excellent too. And just like the smaller Stream Deck Plus, the stand is permanently attached rather than being connected magnetically. A 1.5 meter Type-C to Type-C cable is also included in the box, and like the cable that was included with the Stream Deck XL, its cable connector states that it's USB 2.0 with a speed of 480 megabits per second. When I first connected the Stream Deck Plus XL to my Apple Mac Studio, the Elgato logo was displayed on the touch strip. The Elgato logo is actually a standby image, and if you wish, you can change that in the Stream Deck application. I'm fortunate to be one of the first people to test the Stream Deck Plus XL, but because I am an early adopter, there's no firmware update or pre-made profiles that have been set up. That will obviously change in the future, but in the meantime, what I've done is copied over a lot of profiles from my other Stream Decks so that I have a starting point for creating new profiles for my Stream Deck Plus XL. So here we have all the Stream Decks that I own. On the left hand side, we've got the 15 key Stream Deck, the original. Over on the right hand side, we've got the Stream Deck XL, which has got 8 columns of 4 keys, so 32 keys in total. Here is the new Corsair Galleon 100 SD. This is a mechanical gaming keyboard which has an integrated Stream Deck at the side. So my lights are kind of blinding the screen here. As you can see, you can't really see the display, but this has a nice display at the side. So this has got a display, 2 dials and 12 keys. But the one thing to note here is that this display here is non-touch, and that is different to here. Over here in the Stream Deck Plus XL, this is touch. So here I'm muting my speakers, and you can do that with everything here. And just looking at it, you know, the Stream Deck Plus XL in comparison to the other Stream Decks that I own, it gives you an idea as to the size of this thing. And I think it does demonstrate that this is the ultimate Stream Deck. From a functionality point of view, from a versatility point of view, this has got the most. It's got the most keys. We've got 36 keys here. We've got the longest touch strip, and then we've got the most dials. So we've got 6 interchangeable dials here. And these are really useful. The screen's useful, but also the dials here, because, for example, I've got my Stream Deck XL. I can use the dials to cycle through different profiles there. So I don't have to, add a profile button there. So I can just change things like that. That's really useful. And on this one, I can use it to change the profiles as well. These are just some profiles that I've set up. And, you know, these things aren't gimmicks. These are incredibly useful. Everything here makes sense. I understand why they've got this touchscreen here for displaying information, you know, like volume, zoom levels, different things like that. But the dials really do take up a level. It's really productive. It's really useful to have all of these dials for cycling through profiles, for changing settings. It's just so much easier to adjust things. You know, for example, the speakers, I can put my speakers up and down. Really, really easy. And I can, you know, I'm setting a timer there with the clock, more things like that. So the functionality that you add here, it's all up to you. It's all, you know, it's all up to what you add in the Stream Deck app. But there's so many options here you've got. I can even push this button in and it should put my Stream Deck to sleep. I don't think it's too big, but just bear in mind it is going to be bigger than the classic Stream Deck and the Stream Deck XL as well. So I am fortunate to have spent a week with the Elgato Stream Deck Plus XL, and I can confirm without doubt that this is by far the biggest Stream Deck that Elgato have ever released, and it's also the heaviest. This weighs over 1 kilograms, 1.085 kilograms, 2.4 pounds. It's a lot heavier than the other Stream Decks that are available. That's something that you have to take into consideration. But you obviously get a lot for that. You get 36 keys, you get that long touch strips, you get 6 interchangeable dials. And yes, these are interchangeable. They're kind of, I'm not going to say boring, but you know, they're just black just now, but you can easily pop these off at any point. And at the moment, Elgato sell packs of 4 with different colours for, I think it's £20 here in the UK, but I'm sure they'll be releasing packs of 6. Get this back on. There we go. Unmuted my speakers. And yeah, the build quality is fantastic here. No functionality to add support for the XLR dock at the back there. I don't think that's an issue because I think anyone who's looking at this will probably, they'll probably be looking at the Wave XLR Pro, etc. So I don't think compatibility with the XLR dock will be an issue for most people. But yeah, it's just overall, I'm just really loving using it. It's just very easy to use, very easy to set up, and very easy to add different profiles on the Stream Deck app. Overall, just very happy with it. It's a fantastic piece of kit. Now, that being said, this to me is my best Stream Deck. It's the best Stream Deck that I own. But I don't think that's the one that most people should buy. If you're watching this and you don't have any Stream Deck at all, I think the older Stream Deck Plus, the smaller version of this, I think that's the one that most people should buy. I think that's the one that most people should get. Gives you a great entry into the Stream Deck system. You know, you've got a lot of keys in it, you've got 4 dials, etc. And it will do what most people need. But if you already have a Stream Deck Plus or a Stream Deck Classic, I guess the question is now, you know, when you're going from one of the smaller Stream Decks or the Stream Deck Plus, do you go to the XL or do you go to the Plus XL? And there is still a lot of use cases for just, you know, going to the XL, but I think a lot of people now will start gravitating towards the Stream Deck Plus XL. When they need more keys, when they need more functionality, this is the one that most people are going to go towards because you've got the dials and you've got the touchscreen. Yeah, it's bigger, it's heavier, but when you're talking about functionality, etc., this is the one that you should go for. And as I said, I have just scratched the surface as to what you can do with this. There's a lot of audio products that Elgato are releasing, you know, the new audio interfaces, new microphones and all that. I'm still using some Shure SM7Bs and a Zoom audio interface, but I am tempted now to dive into the world of Elgato Audio because they've got so many products now and they're doing so many great things there. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, give it a thumbs up, give it a subscribe. If you've got any questions regarding this Stream Deck Plus XL that I have not answered in this video, please do leave a comment down below and I'll do my best to answer them. And as always, do your research, guys. Look at some other reviews from other YouTubers, get a balanced view of what this product can do, and check out the official website as well to learn more. Until next time, take care.